Oh, good morning. This is going to be an unusual live video. It's going to be about promoting a book. And to be honest with you, I've never, in spite of all the books I've written and all the articles, I've never actually promoted practically anything I've written. Unlike you would think, I don't see myself as all that great of a writer. I see myself as a conversationalist who simply talks to people through print. Uh, I have a method, I guess, of communicating with people. I have a knack for communicating with people. But as far as someone saying, well, you're good, you're this, or that, I don't feed into it. The first book I wrote was called Sharon, and it was written for several reasons. Primarily, we just bought a new computer in 1996. It had a word processor on it, and I wanted to work with the word processor. So me and my wife, Pamela Woodward, began to have a conversation back and forth about this story, Sharon. And she underwent a health crisis at the time, which made the conversations more interesting. And each morning I would sit down with the French doors open and I would type up the notes of our conversation the night before. When she was past her health crisis, we had a volume of conversations basically back and forth that wove a storyline, which we ended up calling Sharon. And originally, we had no idea of publishing. That was back in the day when you had to be Hemingway and you had to get a publisher with deep pockets that was willing to take a chance on what you wrote and all that. So what we did is we formed a Word file. We didn't even have PDF back then that we could use. We formed a Word file and we began to pass it out on AOL, of all things. And the Word file did quite well, actually. Then we actually took it and we printed out a copy, which was a monumental task. Now, you're talking the old style printers. The block and text was horrible. We had, it was, I think, 10 chapters, so there was 10 different files that had to be weaved together. And we did that, and we printed up the volume, so, single-sided. And we would take it down to the printer shop there in Coppers Cove, Texas. When somebody wanted a copy, it cost us about $20 to print up a copy, and we get the $20 back from the person that wanted it, and they get a plain cover copy of the book Sharon. After a while, we were making regular trips down to the print shop, getting copies printed up, and people were beginning to go on and on about what was in the book. Then we came across a thing called Author House, and this is back when you could self-publish, and it cost about $100, I guess. Not much. But for that, you would get a cover, which you designed, editing, which you did. And by the way, Sharon was never edited. I want y'all to know that. Sharon was never actually edited. It is exactly what it is. I think I found one mistake in it the other day. There's a double V, T-H-E, which never been edited. But we went through Author House, and of course you make no money. You'll never make any money off those people. But it did go out because people began to contact us, and I even got an email from Istanbul where somebody had placed it into the university library there from Author House. As years rolled by, I wrote 3 or 4 more books, and I forgot all about Sharon. I forgot all about Sharon and didn't think much of it. I moved on to other things. I just come from Nashville. I was a songwriter. We wrote Cigar Box, Dabbit Doe, and then recently I wrote Simple Old Boy from Austin, and I'm working on the Last Picture Show now, and all the op-ed articles that I do for Doc Green and the American Voice Radio, the Tea Party Tribune, Crystal Lee Laramore's Damn Good Times and Laramore Multimedia. I can't name it all that I'm doing right now, but it's all op-ed political stuff. So naturally I didn't think about Sharon that much. I let it go. Well, just by happenstance, I don't think it was through any of my efforts, I was contacted by the Trinity Broadcast Network. And folks, it's the real TVN. It's not some con. It's not some stage thing. It really is TVN out in Los Angeles. like you see on TV. I guess 700 Club, all that stuff, And they were interested in Sharon. And at first I thought, since I'm a crusty old writer, I thought this ain't gonna fly. Number one, back then I was a Hail Mary Catholic when I wrote it, but it's not a Catholic work primarily. It has some stuff in there now, but I thought, well, they're going to review it and they're going to say, well, we can't work with this at this time and all that. But just being reviewed by TBN is a kind of a feather in your cap. When somebody of that magnitude says, hey, we'd like to look at your work, that's something to be noticed, okay? So I sent him a copy. A guy named Mark out there is a good kid. And about a week ago, and I didn't hear anything. I thought, well, that's about the end of that. Well, the contract came yesterday. And like I said, I'm a crusty old writer, basically. So I was real happy. I talked to Mark, and I was pleased and everything. But and there's some expenses involved in promotion. Now, this is not self-publication. They take on an incredible amount of expense and preparation and all that to do these things, and they require a little input from the author, which under normal publication rules, I never pay publishers. But this time I read the contract, and I looked at the situation and the magnitude of the company that was requesting partnership is what they want. And they wanted a certain amount of money. Now, to be blunt, we can probably raise most of the money and everything within 3 or 4 months. We're selling houses and stuff like that. But I thought, well, why go the minimum route and just get this thing out there a little bit when obviously there's something else in the works here? I began to think that maybe Sharon was coming on to its time. Maybe Sharon was written 23 years ago for just this moment. Maybe Sharon has a message for people that I didn't see, and God knows I didn't see it. I don't remember writing half the book, but there's something there. So I put up this GoFundMe, and you can see it at the top of the screen. And I didn't want it to come across as begging or anything like that. The book is already in press with Amazon. You can buy it right now with Amazon. But this is going to be a promotion effort, which I think we need. I'm not a good Christian by a damn sight, but I think with the way the country's going, with the way that politics are going, with the way that morality is going, maybe Sharon has a message. Maybe the little girl in the garden, was real. Maybe something came out in this book that I certainly didn't see. So if you can contribute, I will take the money, and I'm going to partner up with the Trinity Broadcast Network, and we're going to see if we're going to make this thing fly. Now, if you buy a copy of Sharon off of Amazon, you read it, you're going to see right readily that it is not your regular Christian work. Now, it's not weird. It's very fundamental. Very fundamental look at what Christianity is supposed to be. There's several examples in the book comparing Christianity to McDonald's hamburgers. There's things in there where Sharon asks the revivalist minister questions that he cannot answer, but she answers for him. I suggest that you take a look at Sharon, and I've sent copies out to friends, PDFs to friends in email, and I'll continue to do that. See, that was one of the things about Sharon I always did. I tried not to sell it. When somebody would email me and say, I really would like to read Sharon, I have a PDF, the original PDF, and I would send them the PDF so they could read the book for free. So this is not a money grab thing. As a matter of fact, as the book sales come in, I'll probably roll it back to the butcher shop, for instance, and to other publications, but I'll also roll a majority of it into, yes ma'am, Sharon, thank you. Sharon Swafford has read Sharon, okay? Anyway, I will promote the book. And that's all I've got to say today. Anything you can do will be appreciated. If I get $5, it's $5 more than I have for it right now. And like I said, I wasn't inspired. Nobody appeared before me. I didn't find any golden tablets or Dead Sea Scrolls or anything. I just wrote the thing straight out as I saw it. based on some conversations and based on some ideas that floated through my mind. A lot of the book I do not remember writing. I read it myself over the weekend, and there's some stuff there, folks. So if you wanna get into something that there's no explanation for, read Sharon. I did.